From Indio, California, it's the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. Today, New York City FC will meet Sporting KC, second match for both here at Coachella. I'm Glenn Crooks, and welcome to our coverage here in MLS preseason. And a number of teams here, 12 in all, who are participating both in training on these wonderful pitches that surround this facility, and then in these friendlies like the one here today. I'm Glenn Crooks, New York City FC. They are going to go with a very young group to start this one against Sporting KC. It'll be Thomas Romero, he's one of the veterans, in goal. Cameron Aceto, Strahinja Tanasiewicz, Max Murray, Drew Baera at the back. In the midfield, Cooper Flax, Arnau Farnos, Maximo Carrizo, and up top, Luka Sunic, Seymour Reed, and Sebastiano Musu. For Sporting KC, at the goalkeeper position, Stefan Cleveland. He came in as a reserve in the first game. He's starting this one. Zorhan Basong, Jansen Miller, Ian James, Jake Davis, a midfield of Manu Garcia and Kwaku Ajabang, along with Daniel Shalloway. He'll be the attacking midfielder. Dejan Joveljic leads the front line with Calvin Harris on the left and Stefan Fifra on the right. Kansas City, they are in their darker blue kits to your right as you watch this one, right to left of the opening half of play. And New York City in their sky blue tops. And I suppose we'll talk kits at some point during the broadcast, since there's been an unveiling over the last 48 hours. And we're underway here for the Coachella Valley Invitational. Great to have you with us over what is kind of a hazy, overcast sky, no rain. And here's an early ball down the flank looking for Harris. Harris running onto it. He's got Tanasiewicz, a very good 1v1 defender for New York City. Shalloway could not handle the reception, and New York City clears. We'll review these players, especially on the New York City side, try to give you as much information about some names that you might not be that familiar with. And Sporting KC, well, they've got 14 players under contract, so they're also utilizing some youngsters. Here's a ball knocked away by Drew Baera, the homegrown for New York City, who is Tavon Gray's substitute. He's the number 2 at right back, and Micha Ilinic leaving the fray for New York City FC. But Drew Baera, great faith in him. Pascal Janssen in his second year. And that's Tanasiewicz off the half volley with the clearance. Pascal Janssen. He turned 53, belated happy birthday to Pascal Janssen at the end of January. He's worked his way up the ranks, mostly in Holland, and very much part of the youth academy system as a director within Vitesse, Sparta Rotterdam, PSV. And then he went to work and was an assistant to Arne Slot at AEK Alkmaar, where he eventually took over for 4 years as the head man, and also had a stint in Hungary with Ferencváros before he came to New York City FC. That's Pascal Janssen. It's Rafael Vicky in his first year with Chicago. His second go-round in MLS, he was for 2 years the Chicago Fire head coach. Guy who played in the 2006 World Cup with Switzerland. Here's Joveljic. He's wearing the number 9 up top for Sporting KC, one of the players they're truly counting on in the early stages. And I spoke to Rafael Vicky and Daniel Shalloway, who's in his 11th season for Sporting KC, yesterday, and I'll be reading some of their quotes to you as they understand the challenges early on here. And the former New York City sporting director, David Lee, taking charge of Sporting KC. This is Basong. That's Ajabang in support, the 19-year-old. Yeah, if you look at the ages, several teens in the lineup for Sporting KC. Here's a nice ball from the right flank. Fifra serving, and it's deflected away. Joveljic tried to get it on the front post area. Max Murray in the defensive position. Max Murray, a first-round draft pick last year for New York City FC out of the University of Vermont after they had won a national championship. Basang again, Toronto, Ontario native, 26 years old. Also has eligibility in Belgium and Cameroon. And he's on it again. And the natural left peg is able to loop it in for Harris. Harris saves it at the byline, but an awkward slip, and Sporting KC still recovers. Another player to watch today for Sporting KC, in addition to Joveljic, Manu Garcia, who is someone who can control a midfield, and he's given a lot of liberty, or at least was under the previous regime. Rafael Vicky, in essence, replacing Peter Vermees, 15 years with Sporting KC as the head coach, and for the most part, also the sporting director, making those sorts of decisions as well. Here's the overlapping Jake Davis. His cross is headed out. It'll be a corner. Max Murray again in the defensive position, and New York City will defend their first corner kick of the game. And it's Garcia who will take. Oviedo, Spain. Manu Garcia. Signed by Man City, 2015 through 19, mostly out on loan. Finds himself now at the age of 28 with Sporting KC for his second season. In the opener for New York City FC, Nico Fernandez-Murcao scored in the 51st minute to give New York City a 1-0 advantage over LAFC. And then Denny Bouanga with a spectacular finish in the 88th minute. And 1-1 the final in that opener on Saturday here at Coachella. Meanwhile, Sporting KC dropped a 3-0 decision to Minnesota United. A lot of buzz about James Rodriguez. He is present here in the States. He is not eligible to compete yet until his paperwork is completed. So Minnesota United anxiously awaiting that. One of the massive announcements of the offseason in MLS. Khaled El Ahmed, who used to be in a sporting position for New York City FC. He's now the sporting director for Minnesota United. He pulled that one off. As Rodriguez very interested in getting himself fit and ready for the World Cup for Colombia. Tanasiewicz finds Baera. A little bit behind Carrizo, the U17 international, Maximo Carrizo. Wide left, getting one of his first touches, Cameron Acito, 21 years old. One of my favorite scouts, Matt Martin, suggested that he was certainly one of the standouts in the central defense position for Duke University, and was especially sold when Duke played at Stanford in an ACC match, and he was not affected by that. And that's the kind of thing you want from a center back. And he's playing on the left side here at the start for New York City. Native of Manhattan, and he was a captain at Duke. Manu Garcia on one knee and slow to get up. A little bit of a discussion with the referee. Ian James wears the number 2, going square to Jansen Miller at the back for Sporting KC. Pace of the pass, New York City read it. Here's the press. And let's see if Sporting KC can work out of it. With the 31-year-old Cleveland, well, his less favored left foot, but he was able to dink it just enough to get it to Basang. New York City still pressing and hoping to win it at this end, and Baera knocks it into touch. Drew Baera, 18 years old. He'll turn 19 at the end of the month, February 28th, from Darien, Connecticut. Bassan going cross field, and Acito read that all the way and was able to cut in front of the attacker and win it back for New York City FC. And the shot and the save, that was Sebastiano Musu. Remember Musu, the Italian? He was signed to 4 short-term agreements with the first team last year, and he appeared only once. But it was some good action, 13 minutes against this very same Sporting KC on the road, helping New York City preserve a 1-1 draw. Kansas City with their first shot. Carrizo on the defense with the slide, and untouched goal kick coming up. Musu is 25 years old. He went to Manhattan College. But that 13 minutes he played for Sporting KC, he showed an assertiveness to get it to goal. And we'll look for him today from the right wing spot to see if he can cut it into the end side and get some service or shot making with the left. And you see that first time ball he played with the left, just nice and smooth up top. Fell a little sort of Sunic. Lucas Sunic is a 17-year-old New York native. He's playing off on the left side. Seymour Reed must feel like the veteran out there. First team minutes last season. He's guiding the front line here with his fluorescent yellow boots. Cooper Flax. Baera. Combination with Carrizo overhit. Cleveland out of his goal. Stephen Cleveland, 4 seasons at Seattle. He played some important matches there when Stefan Fry was down injured. Also spent time at Austin, 3 seasons. And attended Dartmouth. So I was kind of hoping Matt Freese would start this one for New York City, only because then you'd have 2 Ivy Leaguers starting in goal at the same time, and I'm not sure how often that has happened. Anybody within shouting distance, if you know, let me know. Freeze out of Yale. He's a reserve today with Thomas Romero getting the start. Bassan. Arnau Farnos. Really nicely done on the half turn. Gets fouled, and referee will bring this one back. So it's Farnos and Flax in the midfield. Starting today for New York City FC. Pascal Janssen electing to go with a very young squad and players who are generally in the reserve category on the first team. So one would think San Jose on Saturday to close out the Coachella Valley Invitational, and then a week later the opener against the LA Galaxy out here a couple hours away from here in LA, and off the turnover Carrizo. Flax. So one would expect the although we don't know for certain. Later today, I'll be talking to Pascal Janssen and also Tavon Gray, so we'll get an idea. Any ideas that come about, I'll be able to share them. Check out social media. Carrizo. That's Musu actually with the service. Now Musu off the cross, can't handle it on the half volley. Tanasiewicz, though, strong on the ball to take it away from Jovalic. Jovalic, 18 goals a season ago, by far the team leader for Sporting KC. After coming over from the MLS Cup champion LA Galaxy. Galaxy winning it in 24. And then what was a disastrous 25 for them in terms of the record in points. Reed dragged down by Miller, so New York City will have an opportunity from a couple of yards outside of the area. Seymour Reed has improved with his back to goal. He's shown really superior strength in holding off defenders, and that ability to turn in that moment has given New York City a chance here. Musu is the left footer. I'm sure he will have a desire to take this and see if he can curdle it past the keeper. He'll read the keeper. The idea now with Cooper Flax, the right footer. So this is the way New York City will go with it. Musu had the appetite, but he gives it up to Flax. And he misses on the near post side. Training tomorrow, maybe at the end when there's a little extra time you could work on things. Maybe Cooper Flax will put it right in that same spot and see what he could come up with some mannequin setup. Wake Forest captain was Cooper Flax, MVP of the team. 4 years in the New York City Academy, and then went back or decided to get his degree at Wake Forest. He actually came to the preseason under Ronnie Dyla, the first preseason under Ronnie Dyla in 2020, and then again in 21. Then went off to school. Manu Garcia. Dejan Joveljic checking deep into the midfield. Down from behind, that's Calvin Harris taking Drew Baera. 17-year-old at the back. Number 2 for Sporting KC is Ian James. He initiated that progress for Sporting KC, but New York City winning it back. Tanasiewicz to Murray. Sporting KC looking for their first goal at the Coachella Valley Invitational after getting blanked 3-0 by Minnesota. Anthony Markanek, 2 goals and an assist for Minnesota in that match. Kelvin Yeboah, he was the recipient of the helper from Markanek. Strahinja Tanasiewicz, he's proven to be valuable off the bench, late in games when Pascal Janssen decides perhaps to go to 5 at the back or just needs a strong tackler. Strong in the air. Teams are trying to equalize or win something late. Oftentimes the ball is flighted more often, and Tanasiewicz so good at clearing. Short free kick taken by New York City FC. Max Murray, and pressure on Thomas Romero, and New York City sloppy, working it out of the back. Tanasiewicz from behind. No call. And he helps Basong up. That's the least he could have done. Here's Reed. Hustling off Miller, and now Musu. He's going to take it. There was no doubt about that. On one hop, picked up cleanly by Cleveland. That's the mentality of Musu that he showed in his very brief first-team appearance in the summer. It was an important draw that New York City had. They had a very rugged road trip that included Orlando and Dallas, getting wins in both those matches. And Sporting KC was putting all kinds of pressure in Kansas City on New York City late. And Shalloway, he had scored to make it 1-1, and then just a substitution of Nico Cavallo along with Musu, and it really did help settle things down for New York City. Where they got 7 out of a possible 9 points on a July road trip in some of the worst summer climates in our country. Kansas City in the summer, this summer, they've got Argentina and England, who will have their headquarters based in Kansas City. England will be at Swope Park, and I think I have this right, Argentina will be at the SKC facility. Aceto doing well to anticipate again. That's the second time he's intercepted. A little too firm to read. And now it's Shalloway. An attacking midfielder playing underneath Jovalic today. He'll go square, goes past Garcia, and he'll get back on the ball. Shalloway chesting down and can't quite get the shot off, while Romero comes off his line wisely to deflect it away. Throw-in coming up for Sporting KC. Stephen Cleveland, Dayton, Ohio native. He was drafted by the Chicago Fire. Fire beat the LA Galaxy in their opener on Saturday, and today the Fire played Austin. If I'm not mistaken, it was a 2-2 draw. The game before us on this field, the LA check that, the Galaxy played St. Louis City SC. Got 3 goals. If I have it right, Ramos, he opened the scoring for the Galaxy. Nascimento also scored for LA. As they await João Klaus getting fit, he'll certainly be the starting striker for the LA Galaxy eventually. Christian Ramirez had a nice conversation with him. He's certainly prepared to support that, but also thinks he could play with Klaus at times too. Off this set piece, it's going to be Manu Garcia jostling in the area. Max Murray again in the air, 6'3" and well timed by nodding that out the other end. Basang has a little clearance, no pressure on the ball, so he's able to get it across, and Garcia cuts it off, and there's a deflection and a goal. Sporting KC opens the scoring, and I think it was Calvin Harris. Garcia recovering and getting the ball across, so he gets the assist on it. Let's take a look at it here. There's Garcia. Ball not successfully denied on the flank, and you see the deflection, and that certainly played a role. Harris in a good position to finish it first time past Tomas Romero. So New York City down a goal to Sporting KC. They get their opening goal at the Coachella Valley Invitational. Harris was signed as a free agent this year. In 2025, he scored some goals, 5 along with 4 assists for Colorado. originally drafted by FC Cincinnati out of Wake Forest. Wake Forest often mentioned here at Coachella. Had a nice chat with Jose Kojima. He's a midfielder for DC United. Teammates with Cooper Flax at the Wake. Bobby Moose certainly doing his job in preparing some of his young men for the rigors of professional soccer. Moose, who whistled. Manu Garcia, he's over the ball now. He got the assist on the Harris goal. He nearly combined with Jovalic to score the opening goal in their first match against Minnesota, which they ended up losing by 3. But the relationship of those two in particular will be critical in the early portion of the season. Max Murray again. So another important defensive header from Max Murray. And we've been talking about the Sporting KC situation. Their roster is not complete. 14 signed to contracts, 17 at the first day of preseason, 17 players. A lot of academy kids called in. When I spoke to Rafael Vicky, and I listened back to the interview I did with him yesterday, and I want to make sure I get the quotes perfect because it's a sensitive situation that he's come into. But he said, look, I don't see this as a challenge more than I see it as an opportunity, which is the absolute way to think about this. And he's a guy that's used to working with academy players. That's what he was noted for in Switzerland for many of the years he was a coach there. And he said, I was 16 in Switzerland in the first division. Someone gave me a chance, and then you have to take advantage of it. So in working with all these youngsters who were involved in preseason, academy, and 2 players, here's a nice slip pass, another cutback, and another goal. It's Jovalic this time. One of the more difficult things to defend is when a player can drive to the end line and then cut back. Let's take a look at it. So the guy who had 18 a year ago makes it 2-0 here. Jake Davis with just a nice little ball as he got forward. Jake Davis is very good getting out of the back for Sporting KC. That's the fullback there, and you see where he was when he delivered that. And it was a free service, and Jovalic is not going to miss from there. Jovalic, 7 caps for Serbia. He's 26 years old, 18 goals, 2 assists a season ago. He was involved when MLS added the cash for player possibility in transactions. He was involved in the very first deal. He came from the Galaxy to Sporting KC for $4 million. Now it's the job of the club to provide the supporting cast and other players around him. He's about getting in the area and getting service, and then he's going to get it done. There he is on the ball now. Wards off Cooper Flax, the overlapping Afifra, 24-year-old. Also, like Basang from Toronto, Ontario, of Ghanaian descent. Afifra, he's working on that right side. Now the ball's back on the Basang side of the pitch. Too much on that through ball possibility. Not enough room for Harris. Stephen Cleveland, 31-year-old veteran keeper. New York City, 11 changes from their lineup in Saturday's opener here at Coachella. So that gives you an idea of how Pascal Janssen has elected to play this one. We'll see in the second half if some of the frontline players get themselves in. There have been a lot of questions about Tylis Magno and Aiden O'Neill on social media. They are both here. They both suffered knocks in training. Nothing serious, and they're working day to day to get themselves back into it. There were especially questions about Magno. He was here the other day. I saw him after the game. Everything's fine, and he's very much part of the squad. Kai Trewin, he's the new recruit, the Aussie teammate of Aiden O'Neill. Guy who can play at the back and in the midfield. He's been training with the team, but they're being very careful. He was, as Aiden O'Neill said the other day, knackered because he had just flown in. Goal kick for New York City. And you see FIFA objects. Let's see if there was a deflection. Asita on the coverage. And you see there was some help defending. That was Farnos who dropped in from his midfield spot. Couldn't see it clearly, and either way, now a 1 versus 4 as Seymour Reed. That was difficult for him from Romero, and off the second ball, Kansas City, they control. Well, we mentioned Seymour Reed, the striker position. New York City is still actively pursuing a possible number 9, especially replacement for Alonso Martinez, who is going to miss a lot of the season coming off the ACL surgery. One of the best strikers in MLS, reliable goal scorer, 10 game-winning goals a season ago, and that's what New York City has lost. And that's one of their chief considerations. How do they make up for that game-winning category? Tanasiewicz. Little shimmy from Baera. He was trying to see if he could work his way past Basang. Did not. Also out, Andres Perea, Malachi Jones. And departed Julian Fernandez, Micha Ilinic, Justin Hack. Hack played on Saturday for the LA Galaxy. Not sure if he made an appearance today. He was not in the 11. But it appears that he is certainly penciled in as a starter. Just Greg Vanney not certain if that's going to be at the back or in the midfield. Vanney, another one of my conversations, and they're trying to work their way back from 2024 MLS Cup and then 2025, setting a dubious record of winless in their first 10 games. It's never happened to an MLS Cup champion. No playoffs, although a good end of the season, but no Ricky Pooch, and no Ricky Pooch last year and none this year. Second surgery on that knee, and massive disappointment for the Galaxy and their supporters. But they've got some good northeastern bite coming in on the defensive side. Brooklyn native Justin Hack and Jacob Glesnes. If you've watched him for the Philly Union, you understand. Cooper Flax. Shalloway got the best of. Flax had it on the right foot, wasn't aware of Shalloway coming in from that very same side and got dispossessed. Carrizo approaching Ajabang there a moment ago, now to Basang. Ajabang, 19 years old, teaming up with the 28-year-old Garcia in the midfield for Sporting KC. Garcia on the ball. DP Garcia. He had 9 assists a season ago to lead Sporting KC. And here comes New York City, 3 versus 2 break. Good early ball from Carrizo to find Reed. Couple of moves, second defender shows up, and so does the supporting Baera, and Shalloway dragged down by Musu. So a promising counterattack here. Here's Reed. Took a little bit too much time. Sometimes if you dance on the ball too long, you noticed a second defender came in. Initially, he was isolated with Ian James and maybe just a little bit too delayed. There were a number of step overs there or hip shifts to try to get James off balance. James did not bite. James is a 17-year-old. From St. Paul, Minnesota. Started at Minnesota United and then moved his way to the Sporting KC Academy, did Ian James, who just defended Seymour Reed so well, and had 8 appearances with the first team last year as a 17-year-old. And he played all 90 minutes against Minnesota on Saturday. So they are giving this young man a run. And thus far, he's up to the task. And considering that Sporting KC with David Lee at the helm, still in the midst of recruitment, perhaps 6 or 7 players to be added along the way, but this could very well be the unit that start for Sporting KC on opening day. Perhaps not the exact personnel here, but the players that Rafael Vicky in his first year has to choose from. On his staff, by the way, Rafael Vicky, first of all, Edu Rubio is someone I befriended along the way. He has spent time in England with Julian Lopetegui, was his assistant at both Wolves and then West Ham. The West Ham job and that situation didn't work out, and it continues to not work out, for the record. And Edu has found himself in a very, very joyful way here in the States and as an assistant to Rafael Vicky, who met Edu a while ago, and they became friends and remained in touch. And Rafael said, you know, if I get something someday, I'm going to really think about you, and followed through with it. And then Dom Kinnear, also an assistant, and those in MLS and who have followed the league for a long time understand Dom, head coach of Houston, won an MLS Cup, most recently an assistant at FC Cincinnati, widely respected around the league. And I'll tell you what Daniel Shalloway said about the staff in a moment. Joveljic trying to find Harris, and Romero does well to scoop it up, and he rolls it out to Tanasiewicz straight away. A little bit of a dangerous square ball at the top of the area, but it squeezed through. Good combination play by the New York City front four. And here comes the overlapping Baera, Basang, Baera, and New York City comes away with it. Musu to his left, and the shot is blocked. Goal kick coming up. Musu, we talked about his favorite left. He loves to get it there and release. And unable to get the shot off cleanly. There he is, Sebastiano Musu. Advanced in age considering his time with the club, but he played a complete collegiate career at Manhattan College. Italian born. Has proved to be effective on the two-team level. So these are valuable minutes for that young man, along with the others, but in particular, and there he is with the curler over the bar. That's a good chance for him. It came right at the right pace, at an angle where he could spin it into the top corner, but just got underneath it a little bit too far, and Jovalic, he fouls at Cito. Nice ball down the flank by Era to find Carrizo. Carrizo 1v1. He would like it to get it to his left peg against Ajabang, and Sporting KC have done a very good job with the second defender. That is to come over and cover from the primary or first defender and then win the ball. It's happened quite often as the New York City attackers. Good mentality, but they've oftentimes run into that second defender. Max Murray played some hoops in his time too, as you might imagine, at 6'3". And New York City will, whoop, I thought that might be a corner ball, and the AR says no, and well, yes. Could have sworn he pointed towards the 6-yard box area. It's going to be a corner ball for New York City FC, and Musu, the left footer, will look to see if he can bend one in with a tight spin. New York City down 2 on goals by Calvin Harris and Dejan Jovalic here in the opening half at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. Musu, front post, nice flick, well constructed, and that was a Cito who just with a little back heel kept it alive, but now on the counter, Jovalic early, Shalloway on the run, gets to it, now plays it ahead to Afifra, and a nice recovery by Max Murray to cut that off. And Garcia, what a delicate touch to find Jovalic, 2 defenders there, so he'll back it out of the area. Diving header this time by Max Murray, as Jovalic had gotten past by Era to get the service. So Max Murray did play basketball, and he credits his timing on head balls to just that. Just the footwork, which is very important to the timing on a header, how your feet work. And it's interesting, and Rob Dow is the one that really told me that. That was his coach at the University of Vermont, and Dow doing so well there. You'd have to call it a promotion. He's now in the Big Ten with Penn State University, but he's the one that said, so good in the air, and the footwork, fantastic to do some of the both delicate and powerful stuff in the area. Bit of a collision there. It's Jake Davis. Upending Sunic. It's Luka Sunic wearing the 91. There he is, 17 years old. He was promoted from the Academy U18, signed a New York City FC 2 deal, and last year, 16 games, 6 starts. He recorded an assist over his time with the 2 team. That overshoots Seymour Reed. New York City now stepping up high. They will press this goal kick. And Stefan Cleveland recognizes that and pushes his troops forward. And you're managing the game a little bit. It is preseason, so if Rafael Vicky would like to try to solve the pressure and work out of the back from Cleveland off that goal kick, that could be done. But you're up 2-0, and there's only 90 seconds remaining in the half, so why take the chance? Busu, Cleveland had a thought, and with the right foot, Busu was trying to cut it back. He had a runner in the area. That was Carrizo. Also trailing the play was Cooper Flax. Tanasiewicz for New York City FC. And Murray. Tanasiewicz, reliable, started when necessary. He had to start the first 2 games of last year. He's on the ball now. When Thiago Martins, the captain, was dealing with an injury, which he was dealing with in the entire Coachella Invitational. Did not compete at all in preseason. Not a single moment did Thiago Martins. So Tanasiewicz started the first 2 matches. Great through ball, and Reed can't catch up to it. But nicely done from Arnau Farnos out of the midfield for New York City. Farnos is one of the MLS draft picks that has survived. That is survived and remains in camp out of Oregon State. And there's the halftime whistle. Indio, California, Coachella Valley Invitational. And it's New York City FC and Sporting KC. Goals by Calvin Harris and Dejan Jovic have given Sporting KC their first 2 goals of the Invitational and the 2-0 lead at the half. We'll take a timeout and be back with you soon from the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. Harrison Jovelich, the goal scorers for Sporting KC as they lead New York City FC. We're at the interval here at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. A host of games. There are 12 teams participating in the Invitational. There are 5 games in all that will have either already been played or will be played here at the Invitational. And we're looking at Wednesday's schedule. There you see where Austin and Chicago played earlier, the Galaxy and St. Louis City, DC United and Minnesota. No, James Rodriguez is not playing for Minnesota. The game we're involved with here, and then after us at 3 o'clock local, it's San Jose against Portland. And as far as we know, Timo Werner is not yet available for San Jose. But all these games you can watch on the Fox affiliates or other live stream possibilities. I suppose I will say check your local listings. And then we go to Saturday and a complete day there too. There'll be 4 games. As you see, Austin, Sporting KC, they'll close out after getting their first 2 goals here at the Invitational against New York City FC. Chicago, Portland, Charlotte, Minnesota, and New York City and San Jose. It's been a wonderful event, as it is each year, where the MLS sides come in. They have wonderful facilities where they can house themselves, meetings, training facility, and then the game pitch, as you can see here at the Empire Polo Fields, are immaculate. It's 2-0, Sporting KC ahead of New York City FC at the half. We'll be back with the start of the second half in a moment. Moments away from kicking off the second half where Sporting KC leads New York City FC 2-0. There have been a couple of changes. We'll get to them in a moment here. Manu Garcia finding Calvin Harris. Bit of a deflection in there and fortuitous right into the feet of Harris in the first time finish. That gave Kansas City a 1-0 lead in the first half. And we'll get a look at the second goal. That's Joveljic receiving it from Jake Davis, the fullback, coming in and overlapping to find Joveljic, the leading scorer from a year ago. And thus, Sporting KC up 2-0. Let's see. So I can tell you that Justin Reynolds, he's wearing the number 13, and Shapi Suleimanov, number 93, they're in for Sporting KC. And Kevin Pierre, he wears the number 15. He's someone who has been added for New York City FC here in the second half. That could well be their only change, but we'll diagnose it as completely as possible. And here we are underway, second half. Long service, Tanasievich. And getting on it is the new entrant, Shaldamanov. Reynolds playing on the right side at the back. You can see him in the lower portion of the screen. Suleimanov is in a more forward position, working against Aceto on his right, and Aceto, the left back for New York City FC. The 21-year-old from Manhattan put in a good opening 45-minute shift. He's got Max Murray next to him, Tanasievich, and Drew Baera. That's at the back for New York City, with Tomas Romero behind them in goal. Romero was the number 2 keeper throughout the season last year, behind Matt Freese. Freese, the clear number 1, not just with New York City FC, but we would think the U.S. men's national team as well. National team with friendlies against Belgium and Portugal upcoming. at the end of March. But first for New York City, it'll be the season opener they're concerned with, February 22nd, a Sunday, one of 2 Sunday games in MLS on opening weekend, where a lot of people are anticipating LAFC Inter Miami. That's going to be at the Rose Bowl, or the LA Coliseum. No figures as to, and I asked the comms department for LAFC, there's no pre-sale figures as of yet, but you'd have to think that that's going to be an enormous crowd for that one. New York City, they made 11 changes in their starting 11 from Saturday's game, which was a 1-1 draw with LAFC, to this one against Sporting KC. I'll have a conversation with Pascal Janssen late this afternoon. That'll be for a Sirius XM FC MLS preview, but any quotes I get from either him or Tavon Gray, I'll be happy to share with you in Saturday's broadcast when New York City takes on San Jose. Aceto and Farnos, 2 of the youngsters. Farnos 23, Aceto 21. Here along the left side. Now it's swung to the right where Baera tries to skip past the defender. Cannot on that occasion. Sporting KC in the darker blue. They're defending the goal to our left as you watch it. And there's a PK. Penalty called, and New York City will have a chance to pull back to within 1. This one I think we'll see an obvious call and a nice little scissor, and then from behind, absolutely decked, Drew Baera. So Baera showing some 1v1 flair. And it's going to be Seymour Reed who takes the penalty, trying to cut the deficit in half for New York City FC. Reed will turn 18 on March the 7th. Drills it. And New York City, they now trail 2-1 on the Seymour Reed goal. He was the youngest player, or is the youngest player, to ever score a goal for the New York City Football Club in their 11-year history, now in their 12th season. That was in a 3-1 win over the Chicago Fire on September the 13th. As we get a look at how he finishes the penalty, no doubt about it. He was also the youngest player to ever play in a match for New York City. That was last March at Columbus. Energized now after the goal, giving chase and forces the turnover as Jansen Miller just drills it out of play. Changing goal, by the way, for Sporting KC. And the man who was beat on that penalty, John Pulskamp, who is expected to be the number 1. So he's getting the second half. It worked the other way in the 3-0 loss to Minnesota on Saturday, where Pulskamp started and Stephen Cleveland came on in the second half. Bakersfield, California native Pulskamp. And corner ball, Sporting KC. High looping and slightly glanced header, and that was Aceto. In the meantime, a foul was spotted by the referee, so New York City will put it down quickly with Tomas Romero. Here's Aceto. Did a good job off of that to make certain that there was no chance that something could be nodded back across the face of goal or on frame, and back at the other end in transition, foul New York City. So there's a quick restart. Jake Davis. So Manu Garcia's day is done. Jacob Bartlett has come into the midfield for Sporting KC. He's the number 16. Pulskamp will deliver long. Max Murray, who has won many a head ball today, puts that though right to the feet of Jake Davis, and he keeps it in play. Shane Donovan is the number 88. He is a Sporting KC 2 player. One of the many, if you look at the starting lineup, there were 5 Academy or 2 players who were in the 11 for Sporting KC. And now Donovan joins, Boston, Massachusetts native, wearing the number 88. I said I'd get to the kits. I've got to talk about the kits a little bit. I don't want to take away from the play. But bravo to both New York City FC and Sporting KC. And admittedly, I'm not much of a kit guy, but City hit a home run with their All Nations kit. Dark blue top, white shorts, orange socks. Thiago Martins, he modeled it, and really capturing the city. And in the promotional ad, Pascal Janssen is in the voiceover. He's got the voice. It's really wonderfully done. Good stuff, New York City. As for Sporting KC, they have the 18th and Vine kit. Now, if you know anything about jazz, you know that area of the city. It's the Jazz District. And when I think of Kansas City, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I am so happy that they went with a kit like this. Charlie the Bird Parker is one of my guys, and there's a great museum in Kansas City, so if that sort of music, that's when the improvisational jazz really began, the bebop, and Kansas City was at the forefront of that. So great stuff, both clubs. Solomayev. Jake Davis tries to full volley, and that travels over the fence, opposite side. Well, had the guts to do it. Well, we'll take another look at it. Davis, he certainly just couldn't get the hip and leg parallel to the ground necessary to get on top of the ball, and that was a whole technical thing, but obviously a ball flighted like that, pretty difficult to get on goal. Kansas City, though, still in the New York City end with possession. Reed strong with his back to the goal to lay it in behind to Flax. And a nice little maneuver for New York City's Farnos. And then loses the ball, but well done initially by the Spaniard and MLS draft pick in 25. So he was drafted last year, not in this past draft. And then he went back and finished his 4th year at Oregon State. West Coast Conference Offensive Player of the Year. And now looking to see what he can do with New York City. He's moved out to a left flank position while Kevin Pierre is taken over in the midfield to join Cooper Flax. Kansas City back on it. They lead 2-1. New York City got one back. Seymour Reed finishing a penalty drawn by Drew Baera. And that right-footed take by Sulaimov is wide right. Shapi Sulaimanov is a Russian native. His last club was in Greece. 26 years old and looking to make a difference up top for Sporting KC. Calvin Harris has a goal in the first half. Dejan Joveljic, he scored in the first half. Positive sign for Sporting KC. Here's Miller, who started the match. He was a Big Ten champion at Indiana University, IU. That same year, they went to the College Cup, 2022. Ajabang on the ball. Drifted out to the right to receive. Trying to work a combination. That was Justin Reynolds. And he had Sulaimanov there with him. New York City win it back. There's Baera again getting into the final third. One of the reasons he's favored by Pascal Janssen. He understands his defensive responsibilities and continues to improve there, but loves to get forward and attack out of the back, which is certainly, I hesitate to say that's the modern fullback role because it really has been for a while now. New York City's sister club, Manchester City, defeating Fulham today, 3-0. Goals by Samania, but that's a good pickup, eh? O'Reilly and Holland, all in the first half. Trying to put the heat on Arsenal at the top of the table in the Premier League. Manchester City now just 3 points behind Arsenal, although Arsenal do have the game in hand at the moment. Tadasevich blocks that shot by Afifra. Look at the Premier League table and see Liverpool in 6th place. I think of that because Pascal Janssen was Arne Slot's assistant at AZ Alkmaar in the Netherlands, and then eventually replaced Slot when he made the move to Liverpool. Slot, a hero last year, replacing the legendary figure there, Jurgen Klopp, and then winning the title. And it's amazing how managers go from doing everything right as far as the supporters are concerned to then what's wrong. I've talked to a lot of head coaches and managers this week, and the notion of getting sacked is just part of the industry. And supporter discontent. And I know that Rafael Vicky and the longest serving Sporting KC player, Daniel Shalloway, are hopeful that the supporters at Kansas City will be patient, because this is a quote from Shalloway, who I spoke with yesterday. It's a transitioning time at Sporting KC. It's going to take a couple of more transfer windows to get it back. This club will be back where it belongs. If it's 1 year, it's 1 year. If it's 5 years, it's 5 years. And we'll see who's going to be on the roster during this process. Well, Sporting KC certainly in a transition. New sporting director David Lee, new head coach Rafael Vicky, a completely new staff, support staff and coaching staff. And the one thing Shadoway said about the staff, on the field, we're experiencing very good directions. But what I really want to emphasize, and this is a quote, is that they are good human beings. And it takes me back to one thing Rafael Vicky said also, Aceto coming out of the game for New York City FC. And Kai Truin, number 5 right there, is going to make his debut. There he is, the Australian international, teammates with Aidan O'Neill, who arrived at Coachella just a short time ago. There he is. New York City supporters are anxious to see how he'll perform and where. He's going to be the left central defender at the moment. In essence, he has been brought in to replace Justin Hack, who was lost after playing out his contract to the LA Galaxy, free agent. And Pascal Janssen had called for as much of a like-for-like as possible. Here's Carrizo, New York City. They're looking to get forward to see if they can equalize, stymied there. And Truin, he's versatile. He can play at the back, and he can play in the midfield. And those were the qualities that were very attractive to Pascal Janssen when it came to Justin Hack, because it really gave you a lot of versatility, whether it was setting up for a certain opponent or making adjustments during the game. And the club is hopeful that Truin will be able to fill that gap. Playing with Tanasiewicz now. Tanasiewicz going deep into the midfield there off the check. He thought maybe he could come up with something. And off the slide, here comes New York City. Ball left behind by Baera, who moved to the left side. So Max Murray is at right back, Tanasiewicz right central defense, Kai Truin left center, and then Drew Baera on the left at the back for New York City in front of Tomas Romero. David Lee has put together a good coaching staff at Sporting KC. And New York City supporters should give him credit. He's the one that brought in Pascal Janssen. Meeting with Pascal and his wife in the Netherlands. The trip that helped finalize the deal. And Janssen is a highly respected coach in the league. You talk to some of his opponents. Talked to somebody in the league office who hadn't met Pascal Janssen yet, but was impressed, especially with how the team made in-game adjustments. And I think that was certainly one of the more positive signs last year. Kansas City setting up for the long throw. They've got a kid named Jaden Reed, who the number 99, he was standing at the back post waiting for the flick. Kansas City still on it. Suleimanov, curler, and that header is wide. Well, the ability to get the service off. First responsibility of the defender on a wide area is to deny service. And the responsibility of the attacking players to, when you get the opportunity, put those shots on frame. That was Jacob Bartlett who was in front of goal. The fundamentals of the game, often the difference. It's Kevin Pierre who got the ball forward. Haven't said much about Pierre. He's 22 years old. He's the one wearing the number 15 in the midfield for New York City. Taken in the second round of the draft out of Georgia Southern. Joining Ricky Lewis as the first two players ever drafted out of Georgia Southern. How about that? Lewis was taken second overall by FC Dallas. Ajabong fouled, and ball will have to be placed a little bit closer to where the infraction occurred. Overcast day in Indio, California. The first few days after my arrival and into Saturday's opening matches here at the Coachella Valley Invitational. Bright sunshine and very hot. Mid-80s. You can see it was impacting the games a little bit. Players absolutely happy to see the clouds roll in for match day 2. Deflected off of Tanasiewicz, his left foot. Got it out of danger, and New York City will pull up defensively. Reynolds down the flank looking for Davis. Kai Truitt on the ball. Gets it back to Romero. Well, it's important that Truitt, looks like he'll get a 45-minute shift if all goes well. Or not quite a 45-minute shift. He came in a little bit into the second half. 20 minutes to play. But they'll work his minutes through, and one would think he'd get a little bit longer run on Saturday, as long as the recovery goes well tomorrow. As Pascal said regarding him, it's up to the medical and performance staff looking at all the data. That's how they're going to determine his minutes here at Coachella. Reed couldn't handle that delivery from Tanasiewicz. Tough one to bring down. And here comes SKC. Well-driven ball by Jaden Reed. Little scissor to get himself free. And then got that ball across for New York City. Tight defending in the area on that aerial service. Kansas City, they're set up to press. They're looking for the moment now, and New York City diagnosing it with Romero. Romero played 4 matches last year, one in the U.S. Open Cup, a 1-0 loss to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and then 3 in the regular year in place of Matt Freese. Prior to that, his last MLS regular season game was September of 2023 when he was with Toronto. Romero, 24 years old. He's an El Salvador international out of the Philadelphia Union Academy. Here's Baera. Baera showing off a bit of his versatility, starting on the right, but coming to the left too, where he has a comfort level. Off the turnover, Shane Donovan, he barreled forward and then put on the brakes. Donovan is a 19-year-old wearing the number 88, academy player. Ajabong with the switch, and a little bit too far for Reed. Reed is from Elmont, New York, and he came over from St. Louis City. Has shown the ability to find the space off the dribble to get service, as Reed on the counter taken down. In the MLS this week, Minnesota United, they clearly made the news with the official signing of James Rodriguez. It's a short-term deal through June, and then the club has an option to extend it. A lot will depend on how it goes leading into the World Cup and his feeling thereafter. Here's Kevin O'Toole coming on for New York City. And it looks like he's going to move into a left wing position ahead of Drew Baera. Kevin O'Toole, he is without question leading the club in versatility, especially with Justin Hack's departure. O'Toole has played left back, he's played a wing back, he's played in the midfield, and he's played a pure wing. He's a pure wing now on the left side. And he's also played in a back three. Truant, the Australian international. So his previous club, Truant, Melbourne City. And he was part of the team of the season in the A-League. And he has to backpedal here to the right of your screen wearing the number 5. And now he'll go 1v1 against Sulaimanov. Doing well to push him away from goal. And New York City. Nico Fernandez-Murkow also into the game, and he puts himself into the number 10 role, attacking midfield underneath Seymour Reed. And you see a recovery and the defensive win back by Fernandez-Murkow, and that's standard practice for him. And the energy level in the entire unit, you can see, has just picked up. That's Max Murray there. Agustin Ojeda, as you can see there to the right of your screen, he's into the match as well. He'll be playing on the right side. So New York City down a goal. They got a little under a quarter of an hour to see if they can equalize this thing. Harris and Joveljic scoring in the first half for Sporting KC. Reed from the spot for New York City in the second half. Truin back to the newcomer for New York City FC as he backpedals, drops on long ball service, offside the call. Truin represented the Aussie national team at the U20, U23 levels and got his first senior call-up in March during the qualifiers. Australia defeating Japan, and that pretty much clinched it in that March window. So he got his debut, helped his team qualify, and he's hoping that he'll be part of the mix this summer in the US, Canada, and Mexico for the World Cup. Australia is also in the group with the US men. So in all likelihood, Aidan O'Neill for Australia will meet Matt Freese for the US. Members of the and teammates of the New York City Football Club. There's O'Toole, who came in centrally to try to receive that, now recovering as he lost the handle on it. Johan Ortiz is 76. He had his moment in possession. Now putting the ball down quickly. He's another academy player and a two-team player. He was promoted from the academy to the two-team in MLS Next Pro. Davis. Ojeda using his pace to break out. O'Toole can't quite catch up to it. And a sliding tackle by Bartlow, a trialist who is now at the back for Sporting KC. Roster numbers limited for Sporting KC at the moment. As Rafael Vicky said, we're all aware that this team will look much different in a couple of months. We'll be starting the season with the group that we have right now. And that group right now has a 2-1 lead on New York City. So Lamanov and Bartlow. So Lamanov will curl into the back post, and that's headed out for the corner. Kevin Pierre was there for New York City, shoulders facing the end line, and that's the best he could do. Quality service. And Pierre knifing his way inside of the back post attacker. It'll be Jake Davis who delivers from this near corner. And it's Pierre again getting the first header on it and out of danger. 10 minutes remaining. I'm Glenn Crooks, happy to be with you here at the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. There's one more game to play here on Field 1. San Jose and Portland coming up next. Once again, it's Reed doing well on that left side. He's raised a little havoc over there against Max Murray. Murray is generally content in the middle, central defense. He's pushed out wide right. Pascal Janssen looks to see what each player can do in different positions. Finding his gap between the lines was Fernandez Murkow. Now Ojeda, New York City, down a goal. Murray on the overlap. Service hangs in the air, and that allows Pulskamp to easily grab it. And now he'll collapse to take a few more seconds off the clock. Reynolds on the ball for Sporting KC, and now Davis. Kevin O'Toole recovered. Davis was blind to it. Interception for the Princeton alum. Former Ivy League Offensive Player of the Year. So he enjoys getting forward. He's been primarily a back for New York City FC. But in the Pascal Janssen era, he has moved himself into the midfield at times and sometimes in a wing position on the left-hand side in particular. He's there right now is Truin now getting himself forward. And with the right, just a little dink. The runner was Fernandez Murkow. He was knifing in from the right-hand side. Foul on Ajabang. Also this week at MLS, Nashville finalized a club record sale of Johnny Perez to Chivas, north of $3 million. Wyatt Myers, the number 28 at the back, continue to fill in the gaps. So those who have entered the game. Here's Ojeda on the dribble. Ojeda working against Bartlett. Ojeda gets past Bartlett, gets to the end line, cuts it back, and it'll be a corner ball for New York City. Ojeda mentality. If we go back to mid-year 2025, he might not have taken on the defender in such that manner, and it's one of the growth periods for Agustin Ojeda, just 21 years of age, but the willingness to take on players. He's got the ability, and now I think he's attained the confidence necessary to continue to be someone who is strongly considered for the 11. As of right now, he probably is in that spot. Fernandez Murkow, foul New York City. Ball will come out the other way. Ojeda had 5 assists a season ago, no goals during the regular year, 3 game-winning assists. And he was one of only 3 players for New York City FC that played in all 39 MLS matches, regular season and playoffs. The other 2, Justin Hack and Maxi Morales. Hack and Morales started all of those 39 games. Ojeda was primarily a reserve. Good switch out of the back. Sporting KC. That square ball, just getting a piece of it to move it in the opposite direction and across for the Sporting KC throw-in. Reed setting up a little deeper away from goal. Bartlett trying to work some skill and backheel it to himself. How about Denny Boanga in the equalizer on Saturday against New York City FC? Popping it up with his right over the defender. This is all in the penalty area, and then the full volley with the left past Matt Freese. Came in the 88th minute. It's fun to watch the special players. Wanga is one of them. So is Son Heung-min, who did not play in that match. As LAFC left right after the game, they've got Club Tijuana, Truin, and Bayer. Truin is 24 years old. Murray! He may have meant that to be a cross, but it came in like a bullet with a swerve that Pulskamp had to catch cleanly, and Murray may well have done something of a soft tissue nature after delivering that. He went down and he's in some pain. Maybe it's a cramp, and that appears to be the issue. As we get a vision of the typical cramp stretch, although this one not able to extend the leg vertically, at least not at the moment. And Murray's okay. Always a little concerning when the player goes down heavily like that and stays down. "23 years old, Murray, from Kennebunkport, Maine, helping lead Vermont to the national championship in NCAA Division I play 2024. He was an MLS Next Pro guy last year for New York City FC 2. 21 games he played in. Had a couple of goals and an assist. He's dangerous in front of goal on set pieces. We're approaching 90 minutes. Tavon Gray for New York City FC on the right. The minutes are generally calculated now through data, GPS, heart rate, all the different aspects of monitoring the physical state of players. And that's part of periodization, where you're working on it across the entire season for sure, but especially in preseason where you don't want to push anybody too far. Good looping ball from Gray, put it into the channel where Seymour Reed, it's like he'll put in a 90-minute shift as striker for New York City. Here's Ojeda, second half substitute, as was Pierre. Good entrance, Truin, Fernandez-Mercado, O'Toole, Baera, Mercado. Triple teamed, still on it, still on it. Fernandez-Mercado scored the goal, the opening goal in that LAFC match, a wonderful finish. Here's Truin up deep, he finds Reed, leaves it for Fernandez-Mercado, and his shot is blocked, and New York City will have a corner kick. His goal on Saturday was wonderful. He was in the area. There was a defensive presence. There were two players there, and he spun and got it to his favored left. He was able to drill it low and firm past the keeper. Boanga tying it up late. New York City down a goal. Not much time left. Possibly the last kick off this corner. Headed high into the air. Baera there on the challenge. And the keeper, Tomas Romero, was up for the corner kick, trying to add an extra defender there. And indeed, he looked a little awkward there at the top of the area and commits the foul. The referee has looked at his watch 3 times, but still no final whistle. Make that 4 times on the watch. So when Pulskamp serves this up, I believe we will have full time. And there it is, the full-time whistle, and Sporting KC defeats the New York City Football Club 2-1. Calvin Harris and Dejan Joveljic, the goal scorers in the first half. New York City got their goal from the penalty spot. Drew Baera drew the foul, and then Seymour Reed buried the penalty. And that's the final here at Coachella. Each team will have one game remaining in the Invitational. Sporting KC will play Austin on Saturday at 10 a.m. local. It'll be 12 p.m. Central Time for Sporting KC supporters. And New York City, their final game at the Invitational will be Saturday as well, February 14th, against the San Jose Earthquakes, 1 p.m. local time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks to our production crew. I'm Glenn Crooks. Again, the final score, Sporting KC 2, the New York City Football Club 1. You've been listening to the Coachella Valley Invitational 2026. Have a great day, everybody.